easier to get for men or women?
What? It's easier to get for men or for women? I think for women.
Why is that?
I think if a man was like, hey, I want to have people would be like, okay. But if a woman was like, hey, I want to have people would be like, oh, who?
So if it's easier for women to attain, is it surprising that men would have lower standards?
No, of course it's not surprising. I mean, it's sad. Like, everybody should have standards, but I get why men have lower standards.
Why do you think it's so hard for a man to get laid?
I don't know. Again, it's just, I think it's how you come off. Like, your personality, your intent, the way you're like. I'm not saying because it's easier for a woman to get laid, women are just easier, or we're just easier to date or to be with. That's not the reality of it. Like, I can stand in a bar and go, hey, who wants to have sex with me? I'm sure people are going to turn around. But at the end of the day, if I'm having a conversation with you, it's going to take a lot to get to that place. Okay. So it's a difference in a sexual drive versus a actual connection, right? Two different things there.
Girls typically go through party phase, hoe phase, and then conveniently, right when they're looking for a husband, they find God. So a lot of these guys end up with a girl that really doesn't like them like that and isn't like genuinely attracted to them.
A genuine and consuming obsession with one another, a woman who is recovering from this kind of a past, she still has desires. And she sincerely wants to make things better in this process, but she puts desire on a shelf. And she's picked you precisely because you don't seem like the kind of guy she would have dated in the past, so she enjoys being with you. But she doesn't really want to tear your clothes off. There are still men from her past who are living rent-free in her head, and she absolutely wanted to tear their clothes off. After a while, this becomes platonic. The tonic transforms into resentment, and the best that can be hoped for is that she will stay faithful in her body, but never in her thoughts. Always keep in mind that women cheat first in their own minds, and since the mind is the only thing that truly matters, if you don't have her in her mind, you don't have her.
Y'all wonder why men get depressed in relationships. Y'all wonder why men don't even want to be in a relationship. It's because like this. Anytime he does something for himself, he goes out and does an activity he enjoys without his girl, met with attitude. You're supposed to be his peace, not his headache. This is a fucking temper tantrum. You're about 30 years past the point of throwing temper tantrums. If your man's doing everything he needs to provide, if he is upkeeping every end of his bargain for this relationship, let him have a day. He is more than your boyfriend. He is more than your husband. He is a grown adult who has his own interests. And if you want to ruin his good day, shit like this, you don't care about him.
You're comparing good men to, I can't say this, F-boys. I'm just gonna say it. You're comparing good men to the men that you've experienced previously who were not ready to be husbands, that you were just dating, messing around with. I mean, literally, there's a distinct difference between marriage material, men who are ready to be husbands, and these F-boys that you've been messing around with in and out of these situationships with for years. And so now you have this standard for a man and a husband based on these dudes that have just been playboys, fun, boy toys, whatever you want to call it, girls, okay? You can call it whatever you want. But now you set this standard to say he's supposed to look like this, he's supposed to act like that. Oh, you know what? He's too corny. He likes me too much. He texts me too much. Yeah, because the men that you were messing with, you weren't even the only one. They don't text you right back. They don't call you right back because they have a more just like you. So a man comes along that is crazy about you and is interested in you, and I'm sorry to say, you have friend zoned the men that really you're compatible with, the men that would make a wonderful husband. A lot of you have friend zoned the good dude who's ready to be a husband and a father and give you some pretty babies. Because the other thing is men do not look like us. Let me be clear about this. We are the fairer sex. God created us to be beautiful, not men. If you get a pretty boy and they super fine and they in the mirror more than you, honey, rest assured, he probably got some habits that go along with that. He needs all the attention from all the women. And they're coming to me. I'm sitting here just being a good woman. So I'm thinking these women just want to marry. These women just want a good man. Nah, boo, that's not what they wanted. What they want is, if I'm going to pay this money, I want me a Michael Ealy. I want me a Boris Kojo. These men are such a small percentage of the population. Do you guys understand that for a man to be over 6'2" is less than 3% of the population? And we're talking all men around the world, less than 3% of the population. Now you take out the gay guys and you take out the guys that are not black or whatever race specific that you prefer your husband to be, and you take out the men that are broke, and you take out the players, the men who are just not ready, and who are not ready to get married, aren't even looking for a wife, don't want that responsibility yet. Think about these numbers. Less than 3%. Less than 14% of the entire American male population is over 6 foot. Less than 14%. And that's all the married men and the men in prison. All of them, girls. So you're sitting around here like, oh, he's got to be 6 foot, and he's got to look like this, and he's got to make 6 figures or 7 figures. When you start at just height alone, do you hear the percentage that I just gave you on just height? Just height. And if you add in what he looks like looking like Idris and making money like this and that, honey, look, you looking for the come up for real, because I don't know where he's at. I was matchmaking, I would be like, man, I would go find these incredible men, and they would be like, oh, I would never date him. I'm like, I just went and found a freaking pilot, ex-Falcons player. Are you serious? But he don't look, it's like he's gotta be perfect. But you're not perfect. You got issues and unresolved issues, and you got a temper, and you're bossy, and you're controlling, and men don't even like to be around you long term. You run everybody away. You think you're so much the ish that you're bougie and vain and stuck up, and men don't like it. And you wonder why you can't keep a man. You wonder why nobody wants to be around you. Sweetheart, listen, get nice, be sweet. Men are simple creatures. They're simple, but your standards are standardizing you right out of the game. Everybody else is getting married. Everybody else is having babies. But you steady like, oh, I'm not settling. I'm not going to settle. I know what I deserve. And that's when I knew I had to get out of that business. I was like, I knew I had to get out. I had to get out, because I was like, my standards of good man doesn't match what these women want as clients. So I'm not going to be able to fulfill this for them. And it's going to mess them up even more because they're unrealistic. Exactly, Monique. Unrealistic.
Women aren't paid the same amount as male football players. There's a reason for that. It's not because of sexism or a gender pay gap. It's simply just because not enough people actually watch women's football. But why don't people watch women's football? Well, let's take a look. Right, I know I've just taken the worst moments and just clumped them all together, but still, the reason why people don't watch women's football as much is because it's not as intense or skillful as men's football, unfortunately. And because less people watch it, not as much money is made to pay the players. And that's why...
Even excuses for what you did, there's no reason why if you meet me, I need to start being open to your trauma. No one asked you to deal...
No,
Wait, hold on. No one asked you to deal with guys that are going to give you trauma. Now you expect me to be some type of therapist. I'm the man. That's not my job to be a therapist, to fix guys that you shouldn't have got with in the first place. I think it's quite, you're putting things onto men that men don't actually need to deal with. I'm just supposed to be a good man, that I don't need to be your therapist.
So I'm going to give you the harsh reality, because I know in movies they portray men to, be there for you at all times and all this type of stuff. But in all reality, do you know that there are some people out here who do not know how to handle somebody with a lot of emotions? Please grasp that. Men are not set up to handle emotions, coddle people with emotions. They handle things on their own and get through their day. Make sense? So when they see somebody constantly going through things, constantly making an argument out of something, acting emotional, or doing things erratically and acting off of emotion instead of logic, they do not know how to communicate with that. Does that make sense? And I'm not saying all men. Now, there are going to be some men out here who will, coddle you, help you, take care of you, whatever. But most people eventually, after some time, will get tired of that. And you know why? Because because you can only help somebody for so long. You have to do the inner work. You have to seek therapy. Why do you think I'm always literally screaming at the top of my lungs, telling everybody, get into therapy? Ladies, heal. Because we are the ones who carry all the emotional baggage, the trauma and stuff like that, especially if you're dealing with a whole bunch of guys. Hence why I tell you guys, pick better men, because the baggage that it leaves you with when you leave those relationships isn't worth it. You should not be in a full-blown relationship with a man if you are sitting there talking about your ex still, bringing up things your ex did. That's something that shows me you are not healed. You are not ready to be in a relationship. And yes, we all have trust issues, but when you're projecting your past crap onto your new partner who's trying to love you, especially if they're trying to love you, that says a lot. Take the time to heal so you're not out here hurting people who don't deserve it. Not that anybody deserves to get hurt. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I'm okay with my partner being emotional or going through things or going through trauma. I'm very understanding, and I know a lot of people have had hard lives, and it's hard for some people to get up out of that storm. And I'm a very patient person when it comes to my partner, but I'm also like this. I want my partner to be headstrong on their own as well and need me when it's serious need, whether it's a man or a woman. But I don't want my partner constantly crying and constantly bitching about the same thing over and over again. I personally cannot be around complainers. I personally cannot be around people who mope around and poor me mentality when I have been through the ringer and I made myself out of that. Like, I worked my ass off to get to where I'm at. So when I see people doing that, it bothers me. You see what I'm saying? So
Stop dating fat women. Stop dating women that have multiple kids by multiple men. Stop dating women that's still trying to live the hot girl summer lifestyle, even though she's 40 plus. Stop dating women that don't have nothing to their name. Stop dating women that's wearing weaves. Stop dating women that's wearing the extremely long, what they call extendos, nail sets. Stop dating women that's putting on makeup looking like drag queens every time they step out the house. Stop dating women that's squeezing their bodies into an XX small even though they wear a 3XL. Stop dating women that when it comes summertime, they don't put lotion on the back of their feet so the back of their feet be ashy as hell. But if men got on this app saying the same thing that y'all saying, it'll be a crying fest. Y'all be whining and complaining.
Do you think that women require more to be happy in a relationship than men? Or like, what do you think it is?
I think women are gaslighting themselves, right? And so we have the Hallmark image, right? The Disney image, the movie image of what people should do. And I had somebody in my comments recently, because I did a video about, because these women are saying he doesn't put in the effort, right? I'm lonely. He works all these hours. I want him to be more affectionate. Meanwhile, they've chosen somebody who ranks low in physical affection. I want him to buy me things. Meanwhile, he's paying for her car. And so they're looking at these other things that are happening, and they're going, he doesn't buy me flowers. He doesn't schedule a date. He doesn't plan a date. And my advice to them is to make a list of everything that your partner is doing for you. Make a list of what you wish they were doing for you, and ask yourself, would I trade one for the other? And if the answer is no, your partner is doing enough for you. But these women are, because they have these things that are infused, like you see TikToks and the rose petals and the flowers and the gift after gift, right? And she thought, well, my partner doesn't care about me because they don't do those things. But the fact is, there are men who love you in a practical way.
When you're speaking to a man, tone and word choice is everything. Unfortunately, a lot of modern relationship advice doesn't teach these things. Listen to see if you can hear the difference. Hey, you forgot the wine. Versus, my meal would be so much better with some wine. Would you mind providing that for me? Making demands with criticism versus making a request. Big difference.
Please subscribe and send this video to anybody you think will benefit from it the most.